When we think of fire sprinkler systems, they're usually big steel pipes in industrial or large commercial or shared residential buildings, something that owners, renovators or developers have not previously considered as an option for small to medium builds. But in recent years, home fire sprinkler systems have become far more affordable and easy to install and maintain thanks to innovations in their design and changes to building codes. We already know how effective sprinklers can be at suppressing fires and buying time for the occupants and emergency services. Research has shown that 97% of fires in buildings with sprinklers are contained to the room of origin. And while smoke alarms improve survivability in a home fire by around 50%, sprinklers will increase this to 80 to 90%. When you consider the proven advantages that home fire sprinkler systems offer in protecting lives and property, you can see why this is something that more and more people will consider in the years to come. Grant and his partner Stephanie are building a new home in southern Sydney. This is going to be their dream home, and they're keen to include modern features and clever design. All of these things come at a cost, but despite being conscious of their budget, for Grant and Stephanie, installing a home fire sprinkler system in their home was non-negotiable.
One of the big things that you'll find is in a modern home with modern home furnishings in synthetic materials, that the flashover time for a house where you simply can't put that fire out and the occupants won't survive can be as little as 3 minutes in a room, which is no time at all to escape a fire. So in a modern house, it's almost a necessity, I believe, with modern furnishings and synthetic materials to give the occupants time to escape.
In northwest Melbourne, Mick is building a home for his son Alex and best friend Reese. Both of these young men have cerebral palsy, and Mick has taken into account all aspects of their safety, comfort and care in the design and construction of their home. For Mick, a career urban firefighter and qualified plumber, one of the most important aspects of the construction is the safety of its occupants, particularly as they are less able to evacuate the building in the event of a fire. In this situation, every second counts, and Mick knows how effective home fire sprinkler systems can be.
We value our son's life, and we found that there was not really any adequate care for their future. So we decided as two families to take matters into our own hands and build them a home, not a house, a home that they could live in for the duration of their life. So we all sort of spoke about this and said, right, what can we do to ensure that in the event of a fire that we can protect our children's life? And the sprinklers provide a cost-effective, simple solution that we're very happy to go with.
In South Sydney, the plumbers have just about completed the initial rough-in of the pipework. Grant and Stephanie were able to find builders and a domestic plumber to install their home fire sprinkler system using existing skills and tools from the domestic setting.
The most surprising part of this installation was how quick we could actually get it done. This is a 2-storey home and they've roughed it in 2 days and pressure tested it within 2 days. So your standard single-storey home will be done in a day, the rough-in.
This installation's been very straightforward because the products that are used are products that plumbers would normally use. The plumber doesn't need to be experienced in installing industrial sprinkler systems. The system's designed to essentially work off, in our case, a rainwater tank feed with a selected pump set, PEX piping, brass fittings, sprinkler heads. It's rather straightforward, which is a big advantage.
Back in Melbourne, Mick is ready to pressure test his newly installed home sprinkler system. He's been joined by Shay Meat from Home Fire Sprinkler Coalition Australia and Fire Protection Association Australia. Shay has been working with fire regulators and the plumbing industry to develop an industry-approved home sprinkler system approach.
We've had plastic pipe system's been introduced into traditional plumbing systems, so drinking water systems, for a while now, and we've managed to incorporate the sprinkler system into the plastic drinking system. And with that, that's meant that we've got the costs down significantly, because we've got one trade coming in and completing the installation as one system, using the same pipe and fittings and techniques that they're currently used to. So that's resulted in a much cheaper install.
Glenn Bynes from Ozpex is one of the industry partners working alongside HFSCA to deliver piping systems that meet the standards while also matching the tools and equipment commonly used by residential plumbers. He sees no reason why home fire sprinkler systems can't now become a standard part of residential builds.
Well, the basic premise around 101D in particular, which is the Class 2 application, was to allow sprinklers to be fed by the potable water instead of having a separate tap in. And that's really important because we can then feed off the normal work that a plumber can do or a fire installer can do. And instead of having a range of pipes coming off a separate tap into the water, we can utilise the existing infrastructure. But there's also some built-in things as well to ensure that the sprinklers are in fact connected, like connecting the final point to a toilet. So if the toilet's not flushing, you know your sprinklers aren't working.
A major drawcard of the home fire sprinkler system for homeowners is the fact that they don't create any visual impact in the home. And contrary to popular belief, only the sprinkler that is closest to the heat from a fire will initially activate. Over to our experts for a demonstration.
This is a modern day sprinkler head that we use in the residential occupancies. And basically this is the only surface that you'll see. This will be facing down. So it's the only visible part of the sprinkler.
And our plaster level essentially sits just below that cover plate, so you don't see the sprinkler head.
And at a certain temperature, approximately 57 degrees, the fusible link lets go on the cover plate. The cover plate then drops down.
And the deflector would pop down like this and nothing would happen.
And at a certain temperature, again around about 67, 68 degrees, the sprinkler activates.
Water will flow and it'll start spraying on the fire.
So unless there's a fire, you would never know that there's a sprinkler head there, because all you see is the flush plate against the underside of the ceiling. So it's very visually attractive.
Now that the Sydney home has been completed, it's time to find out how our owners feel about their choice to install home fire sprinkler systems.
It's wonderful to be in the new house. It's been a long time in the planning, 2 or 3 years, design and build. So to finally be living in the house after all this time and all the effort's a fantastic feeling. It's very easy to forget that there's a home fire sprinkler system installed. The equipment is almost invisible. It's like a silent protection, if you like. It fits seamlessly, you barely notice it, only a trained professional would know what to look for. It's fantastic.
Mick is just weeks away from completing his build and is looking forward to seeing his son Alex and friend Reese move into a home that has been carefully designed to accommodate their special needs and improve their safety.
We're excited for the boys to move into the home because both the mums, Faye and Thelma, have devoted 100% of their energy to the boys' welfare for the last 29 years. They deserve, as they age, to enjoy some freedom for themselves and some comforts for themselves. And having a house and a home like this allows them to do that. The sprinkler system's an integrated part of the house. It's seamless. Downlights, smoke detectors, ceiling lights are all features of any home, and the sprinklers don't stand out alone. They blend in with every other architectural lighting feature of the home, and it looks like a cover plate for a downlight. Most people, being the electricians, the builders, and anyone who's come through the house, couldn't pick that there was a sprinkler system installed.
As we've seen from our 2 examples in Sydney and Melbourne, the design, installation and maintenance of a home fire sprinkler system has come a long way in recent years, to a point where it's now accessible to all homeowners, builders and trades, not to mention the significant improvement in life safety as a result of installing a home fire sprinkler system.
I definitely can see these being more commonplace in residential homes. the accessibility to products, the speed of which you can do it, the price of which you can do it. It can save lives. It's a no-brainer, really.
Visit the Home Fire Sprinkler Coalition Australia website to find out more about installing a sprinkler system in your home.